guys, thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Real Housewives of Atlanta. This is season 14. I'm thinking this is episode 12 or 13. I was wrong on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I don't know why I just don't look this up before I do these videos. But y'all already know. So let's get into it. Honestly, not much really happened other than the fight at the end, but we'll talk about it. So let's go. So let's get into this episode, y'all. So it opens up and we just see everybody is excited to go to Jamaica. Like everyone's actively packing, trying to get their outfits, trying to get their hair done. Like everyone is just excited to go to Jamaica. And I don't blame them because I'd be excited too. So we then get this scene with Kenya and Drew. Drew FaceTimes Kenya. I guess she getting like a facial, which I don't blame her either. Like you want to have pictures. You want to have that clear, voluminescent skin when you go over there. So they're talking. I do feel like Kenya is dragging this whole Sonya thing because, like I said in the other review, it really didn't seem like Sonya was trying to be shady, in my opinion. It really didn't seem that way. To me, it feels like Kenya just is uber sensitive and didn't like the feeling of feeling singled out, as well as she probably already knew that Sonya was with Charade and Marlow, and she know Marlow don't really see it for her, so maybe she felt like Sonya was trying to be cute in front of them, and Kenya was like, girl, don't play on my phone. Like, don't do that. So I just feel like they're dragging it out. They're dragging it out, as well as, Drew and her ain't like this. So to me, y'all just talking trash just to talk trash. Now I will give them a point. Sonyas Party last episode was very much Party City-esque. Like we just gonna have to call a thing a thing. Sonya, I slightly felt bad for her because the gesture was there. She was trying to throw a housewarming party so the ladies could see her new house with her furniture in it, as well as do something really sweet for Sharae's birthday. So I'll give her that. But like Kenya said, like to throw a good party, you don't need cheap decorations. Them decorations definitely got them at Walmart, and you bought the air pump because I've done that and I have an air pump to blow up balloons. And she said no bad food. That food did look dry and it just didn't look good. We just gonna have to call a thing a thing. And then Kenya was like, and just have me party plan. And we've seen Kenya throw some really nice parties. But then again, like Atlanta is not known for parties. They really aren't. I will say the best parties I've seen out of like the Housewives franchise has really been in Beverly Hills. And that's because them the ladies, they coined up. Beverly Hills, I'll give Dallas 1 point. That Halloween party they had, because I liked everybody's costumes, was kind of cute. And, even in Potomac, some of their parties don't even hit. Yeah, they just don't be hitting. They don't be hitting, bro. They just don't hit. But yeah, like honestly, my thing about Sonya is like with the decorations part and the food, she definitely could have, like they could have cooked and people probably would have enjoyed that more because that food did look dry. With the decorations, I'm looking at Sonya like, girl, you have access to TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Pinterest. Pinterest is the holy grail. I don't care what none of y'all say. But on Pinterest, TikTok, and Instagram, people are showing you how to DIY things. I almost said DUI. I had to think about it in my brain. DIY things to make like cheap material look luxurious. We've seen it. Even I've been able to like create backdrops for myself and for other events using like what I see on Pinterest, like at birthday parties and stuff like that. So I was just like, yeah, girl, it wasn't hitting. It wasn't hitting. We then see this scene between Ralph and Drew. Y'all, Ralph and Drew make me cringe. They really do. But I will say Drew has slightly grown on me. I still think she's fake, and a lot of things she gives us is fake. But she has been not so bad. The beginning of the season, this middle part, okay, she's not that bad. She's not that annoying to me. She's still annoying, but she's not that annoying. And in this sit down with Ralph, I saw both sides of their conversation. They're basically talking about Ralph adopting her oldest son. I think his name is Josiah. because, you know, they talked about it earlier, like a couple of seasons ago, where he was like, yeah, he wanted to adopt him. But now, since he's had like a personal and private conversation, which Drew didn't know about, which I was like, you shouldn't be doing that. That's sneaky, and I don't like that. But Ralph met up with the father. They had a conversation, and the father basically said if Drew, like, if Ralph and Drew were to, like, if Ralph were to adopt his son, it probably would break his heart. Like, I guess the guy is actually being an active role in his son's life, or active participant in his son's life. So I guess in his mind, he's like, why would you need to adopt my son? And it makes sense. It makes sense. But I also can understand Drew being like, well, he hasn't been here that long, but you have. You definitely have been a part of my son's life for a long, like, you're the only father my son knows. Why wouldn't you want to? And it would, if I was Drew, I would be looking at Ralph kind of funny. And I've been seeing like the after shows, but I don't really like watching the after shows. I feel like sometimes the after shows mess up like the energy that needs to be set at the reunion. But I did see a clip where she said she felt like blindsided by his decision to like do a 180, and now he doesn't feel comfortable or right doing it. And I'm just kind of like, to me, Ralph hides too much stuff from Drew, whether it's real or fake with their storyline. But it's like, you and the assistant, you doing this book and she not knowing about it, as well as you having private conversation with the father of her kids and she not know about that. Like, that stuff right there would bother me. Like, I would be like, oh, you're sneaky AF, and I don't like that energy you giving. And I can't fault her for that. I really can't. I can't. That would be how I would feel. But I also kind of agree with Ralph in a sense. Like, if I spoken to the father and he's not comfortable with it and he's actively playing a role in his son's life, why would I then adopt him? I don't know. I feel like there has to be more to the story, because, you know, it's not like Eva's situation with psychotic Kevin McCall. It's not like that, where like we had clear representation that man chemical imbalance, and he was choosing not to get help for it. He was choosing not to stay on medication, and he was clearly having outbursts that would probably put him, Eva, and his daughter in danger. So maybe it was a lot easier once she got married to her husband to adopt her son. Because did he adopt not her son, her daughter, to adopt her daughter? Because it's like there's clear evidence for the courts to see like yeah, the child is safer over here. Maybe the father, like Josiah's father, hasn't shown that. And like, I'm kind of with Ralph. Like, if he is being an active participant, why do I need to adopt him? But I also understand from Drew's perspective, like, you know, he's known as a father. This man just got here. Like, we saw how uncomfortable he was when he first met his dad, when the little boy met his dad, because he didn't know him. So I understand. And maybe Ralph is like, maybe he doesn't feel right. And I mean, like, I wouldn't want someone to adopt somebody if they didn't feel right about that decision. And then there's like some resentment and some uneasiness, because children can feel that. I feel like if Ralph is going to adopt the little boy, then I want it to be like organic, not because someone is forcing his hand to do it. That's just my takeaway from it. That's just how I feel. So let's get on to Jamaica. So like I said, we on our way to Jamaica. We see everybody getting into the sprinters. We find out that Ross forgot his passport. First of all, how? I don't know what y'all be doing the night before trips, but for me, my bags are packed and by the door. And I mean both bags. Like, my carry-on bag has my wallet, my passport, my headphones, my iPad. Like, if I bring my laptop, I got all my stuff wrapped. So when you get to TSA, you take everything out the bag, and you do it quickly just in case you run late, so you can get through TSA, zip that crap up, and run to your terminal. I don't get how he forgot his passport when we know we going out the country, sir. To have been the first thing in the bag. But he forgets his passport. He has to get off the sprinter because Sonya is like, they still have to get to the airport. So like, everyone is like picking up everybody. We find out that Kenya is +1, which was going to be her cousin. Unfortunately, I think that's the one that's a chef. She was feeling sick. So she chose not to come, which I kind of call BS on it. And I'm going to let y'all know why. Because I feel like, sick or not, she must be on death's door not to go to Jamaica. I feel like a lot of people would take their asses to Jamaica if they had, the virus, or if they was sick with the flu and they knew they was going. I really do. I don't feel like people canceling trips to Jamaica, as well as, especially if Bravo is paying for it. Oh, I'm going to Jamaica. Man, I'm probably not going to go because I got morals if I had the Rona. I'm not gonna go if I had the Rona. But if it's just like a cold, oh bro, double masked up. I'm taking my sinus medication, my everything, because I'm going to Jamaica on Bravo's dime. I'm going. Now if it's the other one, no, because I don't want no other person to die from that. I don't want that to happen. But if it's something like the common cold, oh bro, or a sinus infection, let's go. I got my prescription. The hot sun will sweat it out of me. It will sweat it out of me. So everybody gets there. We meet everybody's plus one. So like I said, Kenya doesn't have a plus one because her cousin was supposedly sick. Sonya kind of was like, that's peculiar. We then see Marlow brings her florist. I think his name is Avant. Charade brought one of her friends, Michelle. That's probably what I did. I probably would have brought one of my homegirls. And then everybody else just were with their husbands and stuff like that. And when we meet Heath, which is Mayetta's husband, he was funny at that table. His energy at the table was hilarious. So they all get to Jamaica. We find out that Todd's not drinking. He's doing a detox because I guess he feels like he's been drinking too much. I wonder why. I was like, I don't understand why he was so vocal about it. I was like, okay, bro, you detoxing. Cute. Let's go. We then see them all get on trams. The resort is nice. Like, everybody's room was really nice. Like, it was nice. We find out that Candy's been there before. But they're on the trams, or what's it called? Them go-karts, going to their rooms. And this British guy, John, walks by. Cute, light-skinned dude, nice beard. He looked good for his age because he told them at the table he was 37. And I thought he was like maybe 30, 20. Like between, I really did think he was between like 27 and like 32. But to be 37, almost 40, he looked good. He do. That beard, he looked good. And the accent, I love a British accent, especially when it comes out of like brown and black people. It just hits different for me, you know? It hits different for me. So she sees him, they flag him over. And like I said on Twitter, you can't tell me that wasn't an actor. You cannot tell me that wasn't an actor. And this is not to say that Kenya pays for people. I know we always talk about Walter, and I don't believe that. Slightly, I believe Walter, because Walter was just very indifferent towards her. But the other two, Mark and Matt, it was toxicity, but they loved them some Kenya. So I don't believe that whole narrative that Kenya like pays people so she can have somebody on the show. But I just feel like Kenya doesn't really give me, I meet some random man at the resort, I'm going to dinner with him, I'm inviting him to my room. Kenya gives very much like, I run background checks. I'm catching the man's fingerprints. I'm doing DNA tests because I'm suspicious of everybody. Kenya is that friend that's going to tell you, like when you tell them like, oh, I'm going on a date. And she's like, give me the license plate number. Give me a picture of them. You know, she's going to be that friend to be like, if you go missing or I don't hear from you at 8:00 in the morning after your date, I'm calling the police. And if she texts you during the date, you better text her back. Or next thing you know, you're going to hear that on the door. Ma'am, we're doing a wellness check because you haven't called your friend. You haven't called your friend. So that's very much the energy. That's very much the energy Kenya gives. And he gave very much so that because he left the table when things got too hot. But we'll talk about that. So Marlo's being shady, talking about, oh, did she go to him or did he come to her? And we know y'all went to them. Sonya and Ross are being wing women. But I was like, Marlow, does it matter? Nobody came to you and you didn't go to nobody. So shut up, lady. So they're all eating. We see Kenya talking about she getting half her groove back. And they're having a nice time. I also thought it was a nice gesture that Sonya got Kenya's room all dolled up because her birthday, I guess, is going to be a few weeks after or a few days after. And she's staying later in Jamaica to celebrate with family and friends that are coming. So I thought it was a nice gesture. Sonya is annoying, but there's redeeming qualities about the lady. So I did think it was sweet. So on to this dinner party. All right. So we see John go to Kenya's room. He's there, getting ready with her for the, what's it called? For the dinner. Everybody gets there. Kenya looks good. You can never take that away from Kenya. Even if people be shading her booty saying it look like cement, who cares? Kenya still is very beautiful. Kenya is 51 years old and she looks a lot better than people in my demographic and even people older than me. So we can't take away that from Kenya. I will say though, I still believe that man he had to be, because Kenya not inviting strangers to her bedroom unless there is a camera crew. She's not doing that in real life. She's not doing Stella got her groove back. Kenya does not believe in that. Kenya is so conservative on certain things and very no, we don't do that. I can't. So we see Drew, Sonya, Ross, and Ralph are the first two couples to get there. They're all talking about their rooms. Sonya's, Drew is saying how great she was the room was. She was kind of surprised Sonya gave her a good room, because Sonya said early on in the episode that the rooms are based off of how people have treated her. I made her feel, and they ain't been getting it, but it's cute. So then everybody gets there. Everybody's there. And things went left pretty quickly. So the first thing that comes up is Sonya asks Marlow across the table, how are you feeling? How are the boys? And she was like, Marlow, you can see the voice of her mouth saying, I don't really want to talk about that right now. And I was like, okay, cool. So they don't. She was like, maybe we can talk about it tomorrow or another day. So then we see, what's it called? No, we then see Charade asks Ralph about his book, how's the book going? And he was like, yeah, everyone's like, oh, what book? And then he starts to explain, it's a book about co-parenting, about how to be good co-parents, how to be a good step-parent. So then Marlow chimes in and she's like, oh, I'm so happy that you're going to adopt him. That's wonderful. And I think that's when they explain to everyone oh, he's not adopting him. And everyone's like, oh, we thought that's what you were doing. And he was like, well, no. And then Drew explains that he had a private conversation with Josiah's father. And he basically said he didn't feel comfortable adopting him because Josiah's father said if he did that, that would break his heart. And Ralph is just I want to respect that. And I can't really knock Ralph being I want to respect his wishes. At the end of the day, that is his biological father. I get that. I get people being well, Ralph should have been done adopted him since that man ain't really been in his life, which is true. But I also don't feel people should be forcing somebody to adopt someone. I just feel that would just mess it up. You should want to adopt somebody because that's what you feel in your heart. All those really beautiful sentimental videos of the kids asking the dad to adopt them and they break down and they said, of course. And it hits different for people. I don't want it to be forced. Maybe But Marlow gets triggered. And she talks about, as a foster kid, I really think you should. It would mean a lot because rarely do foster kids get adopted, as well as I just hope he doesn't feel you're treating the other kids differently because he's not yours. And I get where Marlow's coming from, but I also don't think it was Marlow's place to hoist her trauma into this, because it's kind of girl, granted you can give us your take on it, but at the end of the day that's their decision. So Marlow is kind of going really hard about it. She's so you're telling me he can you don't want to put him on your taxes, you don't want to do this and this, you just want to emotionally support him. She was really going in. That's why I could tell Marlow was triggered. But then Candy chimes in, and Candy's this is kind of cute coming from you, Marlow, when you kicked your own kids out. So how do you have so much to say? And this is my thing. Candy shouldn't have said that. I don't care. She shouldn't have said that, because it's you've seen the lady cry, you've seen her be you've seen her be uncomfortable, you've seen her be sad about it, and even if you don't readily even if you don't agree with it, like certain things don't need to be said. So then they get to going back and forth at each other. They are going back and forth, and I thought it was kind of weird that everybody else at the table was like Marlow was going too low, but I was like, Candy started it. She started it. Like, she started it. And I don't think Candy really cleared Marlow. Todd did. Like, Todd really was the one at the table reading Marlow more than anything. But Candy, to me, is not good with her words. She's not. She can be good, cute on speak on it, because I've seen clips all day of Candy, like, collecting Marlow on her own channel, but not being able to do it in front of her, because it really didn't hit for me. It may have hit for y'all, but it really didn't hit for me. In all honesty, and in all honesty, they both were saying things that were true on both sides. Mama Joyce does disrespect the dog piss out of Todd, and Candy just sits there like, oh, that's my mom, I can't really say nothing to her. We've seen it time and time again where she even disrespected this man's mother, and then all of a sudden she backed off when the lady passed away. But she did it all on Candy and the gang. We saw her talk negatively about Todd. We've even seen your Aunt Bertha and them talk negatively about Todd, and Candy just sits there and she doesn't say anything. So that was true on Marlow's point, as well as for Candy. It's also true that Marlow probably did re-traumatize her kids, her nephews, by kicking them out, telling them to get the F out, when you've already known that's probably what they've been through. So Marlow did contribute to that. Two things were correct. One thing Marlow lied about: Candy is worldwide. I mean, honestly, there are people that know about Escape. There are. Candy has made a name for herself in the music industry and entertainment field. More people know her outside of Atlanta, because Marlow's thing was like, you only known in Atlanta, and I'm like, Marlow, nobody knows you but you in Atlanta. Like, outside of Atlanta, I mean, yes, we know you, but I don't think like the greater population of the world knows you. People know who Candy is. Like, to a certain extent, people know who Candy is. They may not know her, but they know her if they probably see a picture of her. Just like there's certain actors and actresses and groups that I've been like, oh, I do know them. And I don't really like know them, but I know of them. So like, I was like, yeah, Marlow, that wasn't really something. So then they're going back and forth. Marlow brings up Todd calling Candy like a country bumpkin when he first met her. And then Todd's like, what are you talking about? He's like, I'm sitting right here, I can talk for myself. And that's when I say Todd clear, because Todd gave tea, where Todd was like, girl, you had to buy your way into this group. Like, let's be clear. Like, you had to buy your way into this group. And then Candy was like, girl, I've helped you with so much. And she has. Even that show that Candy was trying to get for Marlow on WeTV, Marlow messed that up. Like, Candy has really been there for Marlow. And like Candy said, Marlow is showing her true colors. And I'm just saying, Todd cleared her with that whole, like, you had to buy your way into this group. Actually giving us backstage information about, like, hey, girl, like, you were never going to be a part of this group like that until certain people advocated for you. But isn't that the whole thing about the Housewives franchise as a whole? Like, half of y'all aren't really friends. Like, maybe 2 or 3 people were friends beyond the show or before the show, but everybody else has bought their way into this. I don't know. It just didn't hit the way the internet was hyping it up for me. I just feel like out of everybody at that table who was going back and forth, Todd was the only one that cleared. Because he decided to showcase behind the scenes tea. I do think Marlow was lying about Todd talking crap about Candy. Because, I mean, even if he was talking crap, they've been together for almost 10 years. So it's kind of like, he fell in love with the bumpkin, like Candy said. Heath, Mayetta's husband, tickled me. He tickled me because he was cackling the whole time. Like, he was getting his life. Sonya was embarrassed because the thing about it is, like, Sonya is like, bro, like, everybody knows me in Jamaica. Like, y'all are embarrassing me. Which is probably true, because Jamaica is an island, but I bet you people know people. Like, them things is intertwined there. So she was like, oh, this is embarrassing. And then John left. That's why I feel like John had to be an actor. Because I'm like, bro, Well, no, no, I do feel like he was an act because I really don't feel like Kenya would invite that man to his house, to her room, or to stop him. It just blew me that like he just got up and he didn't even say bye to Kenya. He was just like, yeah, this too much for me. And he just left. John was like, y'all not about to have my people looking at me crazy. He really just got up and left. And then it ended with Marlow saying bye delusional and Candy saying bye lonely. And I was just like, okay. Okay. So, honestly, my real thoughts is Marlow is trying too hard and it's not hitting. I wonder if she's going to get a second season, but I think if she does get a second season, she might calm down. But like I keep saying every time I do these reviews, Marlow is going to get ate all the way up at the reunion because the way Candy was going off on Speak On and talking about Marlow can't sell that old wrinkly pussy for too long, they gonna come at her. They are going to come at her, and so like they're gonna drag Marlow. They're going to drag Marlow. I will be so shocked if Marlow can hold her own against them. I'll be not increasingly shocked, but like extremely shocked if Marlow can hold her own against them. But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be brotherly authentic and drop down in the comments below. Deuces.